In tone deafness news, y'all can pretty much look at this imagery right here and tell where I'm going with this. And I did not create this image. I just happened to type keywords into Google, and this is what came up. I said, more tone deafness coming via the NFL, and just a bunch of BS. So it says the NFL is to play the Black national anthem ahead of the football games as its way to combat against anti-racism. Or to, no, not combat it, but to commit to anti-racism. This means absolutely nothing. Nothing. Remember, Colin Kaepernick took a knee for the what will end up now becoming the last season of his football career in the NFL. And he got scolded by the media and the NFL collectively throughout that entire season. And still to this day. And now that they have egg on their face and they were losing ratings and whatnot, now they want to do this. That, like I said, this means nothing. Like, what are you like really trying to do? Is this your way of trying to get black people to get back into watching it after you pretty much did what you did to this man a few years ago? Because if so, it's not going to work. I mean, you might have some that are still going to watch, but you're not going to have too many people. Like, you've already burnt that bridge. And one of the main people that was at the head of the burning was none other than the commissioner himself, Roger Goodell. So I'm going to go ahead and read this article coming from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. The NFL will play the Black national anthem before all games during the 2021 season, including the September 9th kickoff game and the playoffs, as a part of a 10-year, $250 million commitment to fighting racism in America, reports say. So for 10 years, this is what they're going to do. How is this fighting racism? Can someone explain to me how playing Lift Every Voice and Sing before every game is supposed to be fighting racism? And where does this $250 million going? Where is that coming from? Where is that going? Something tells me it's not going to where it should be going. I would rather they send the $250 million in the form of tangibles to black people across America rather than this song. Like, what is this going to do? I don't get it. Additionally, the league announced it will feature social justice messaging on fields, signage, and helmet decals and public service announcements, according to a report by Front Office Sports. Rap mogul Jay-Z's Roc Nation has been advising the league on its Inspire Change initiative. Okay, it says, through Inspire Change, the NFL has committed $250 million to social justice causes over the next 10 years. Where does it all go? At Nate Burleson explains how that money is impacting communities across America. Let's see what this clip is saying. And this was posted on May 10th, 2021.
That's how much the NFL and its teams committed to social justice causes over the next 10 years. And they're already more than halfway to that goal. You might be thinking, that's great, but how is that money actually impacting communities across America? Good question. Here's the answer. First, that money is divided into three main categories: league-issued social justice grants, team contributions, and NFL Foundation matching grants. Let's start with the social justice grants. Each year, the NFL issues these grants to nonprofits, picked by a joint player-owner social justice working group. 30 organizations have received these grants so far, including groups like Alabama Appleseed, the National Urban League, Community Justice Exchange, and Gideon's Promise. The NFL also works with the Players Coalition, an independent nonprofit organization of athletes fighting for social justice and racial equality. The 3-year total of these grants, more than $30 million. Next up, team contributions. The NFL's 32 franchises support change-driven nonprofits in their own backyards. These donations come from club owners, team foundations, and special player team matching funds. The tally on these contributions, more than $122 million. That brings us to NFL Foundation matching grants. The NFL Foundation offers matching grants to current and former players and teams. So far, they've awarded 1,448 player matching social justice grants, with about 2/3 of them going to current players. The grants have funded organizations that support education, fight poverty, push for criminal justice reform, support better police and community relations, advocate for racial equality, contribute to economic development, and fight against COVID-19. The number on those grants? Over 8 million. Now you know where the money is going, but these are more than just organizations. These contributions are paying for teachers, medical care, neighborhood improvement, housing, chipping away at racism and inequality, changing lives on a real day-to-day basis. We have a long way to go, but with players leading the way and the league supporting them, we're making major strides in the right direction. Let's keep this drive going.
Okay, so y'all just heard that, and that just sounds like a bunch of BS to me. And I'm sure it sounds the same to you as well. If they're not talking about tangibles, and we know, and they know what we're talking about, we don't want to hear it. Like, that's where I'm at with it at this point. And I really don't care how anybody really feels about it, because you're not going to change my tune or my mind when it comes to this. It just is what it is. And when I was looking at the slides that they were showing, I was getting a lot of POC vibes from this. And you know how that goes. But, I mean, nice little attempt or whatever. But I don't think it's really going to be to our benefit at the end of the day. As a matter of fact, I know it won't be. But kudos to those who it does benefit. The moves follow a league-wide test run last season in which the song Lift Every Voice and Sing was played before the start of games in Week 1 and at Super Bowl 55 in a performance by Alicia Keys. The song will be performed ahead of the Star Spangled Banner. I'm sure that's going to piss off a lot of palm-colored people. The league's remarkable and sudden groundswell of support for the Black Lives Matter movement was seen as an astonishing about-face from 5 years ago when the league blackballed, or should we say whiteballed, quarterback Colin Kaepernick for kneeling during the national anthem as a silent protest against police brutality. It's amazing, like now, like I said, now they want to do all of this after they whiteballed this man out of the league. The majority of the NFL players are black, but many conservative voices and right-wing media outlets are criticizing the anthem change as politically motivated amid a national cultural shift on race following last year's police killing of George Floyd. I'm sure that's how they feel. That's why I know that them playing this song ahead of the national anthem is going to really piss them off. And you know what's going to happen? I bet you it's going to be some other leagues, like the NBA is probably going to do the same thing. I don't know about the NHL because the NHL is majority white, so they probably wouldn't give a damn. And all the other stuff like soccer, who's really caring about that? Baseball, not so much. So I'm looking at the NBA probably to do the same thing. Some are blaming Democrats and casting the Black National Anthem as a major cultural concern. Dems destroy fun, and this is coming from Sean Clanity. Why do the Dems have to inject politics into sports? Fox News host Sean Clanity tweeted about the change. The NFL is playing the Black National Anthem, and the Olympic Committee is redesigning its flag logo. I didn't even know they were doing that. We already have a flag and an anthem. They mad already. The only thing that brings me joy about this is watching them crumble up like a balled up piece of paper. Fox News's Saltine Queen, I haven't talked about her in a while, and for good reason, also scoffed at the change in a tweet, saying, so the NFL will include the Black National Anthem and social justice messages in the 2021 season. That should do wonders for ratings. The ratings was already down anyway. I'm predicting they're probably going to go down some more. And to be honest with you, it's probably a lot of black people that's not even going to watch it because they already see the pandering. The writing is clearly on the wall. Since Floyd's videotaped murder in Minneapolis was broadcast across the nation, across the globe, some of the biggest and most influential names in corporate America, including NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, have fully embraced the Black Lives Matter movement, and I bet you it's a fake embracement, and continue to express an urgent commitment to ending systemic racism. Goodell went a step further, honoring Juneteenth by closing league offices for the day, a year before Congress made it a national holiday. This year, we worked together as a family and in our communities to combat the racial injustices that remain deeply rooted in the fabric of our society. The NFL will observe Juneteenth as a recognized holiday, and our league offices will be closed, he wrote in an email to employees on June 20th, 2020. Goodell's shift was especially notable because the NFL had been under constant pressure from the former President Donald Trump, who called for the sidelining players who kneeled during the Star Spangled Banner as a protest against ongoing police brutality. Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespect our flag, get to say, "Get that son of a B off the field right now. Out. He's fired. He's fired," the former president said at a 2017 rally. But 3 years later, it became clear that the attitudes about the issue had somewhat softened. The league and its 32 teams will not hinder the ability of the league's 1,700 players to take a knee or otherwise protest on the field during the U.S. national anthem. The NFL does have a policy on the books, but no player has ever been disciplined for taking a knee, front office reported. Didn't y'all discipline Colin Kaepernick? You may not have come out and said that we're disciplining you, but it sure shows when he didn't get signed that following, when he became a free agent and y'all didn't let him back in. See, I say it's too little too late. Like, they can do all of this and it still won't work. Black people don't fall for the trick bag. The NBA last year emblazoned its courts with the insignia of Black Lives Matter, but since has removed most of its social justice signs and messages. In last September, ESPN replaced Hank Williams Jr. in the opening to Monday Night Football, saying his iconic country rock anthem would send the wrong message in the COVID-19 era and clash with the sparse crowds that are expected at NFL games this season. Williams' song "All My Rowdy Friends Are Here on Monday Night" debuted in 1989, and ESPN continued to use it when the primetime matchup moved from ABC in 2006. In 2011, the network stopped using Williams' song for 6 years after he publicly compared President Barack Obama to Adolf Hitler. In 2017, however, during Trump's first year in office, Williams was back by popular demand. I wonder why. During the 2020 season, the network opened every week with a rendition of "Rip It Up" by rock and roll legend Little Richard, who died last May. The choice of Little Richard was noteworthy given the changing attitudes about racial equality and subsequent backlash against racist symbols around the nation, but ESPN did not offer any of these factors for its decision to show Williams' intro, despite a handful of his songs that do glorify the Confederacy, whose flags and monuments became targets during last year's widespread racial protests. Like I said, they can do all of this and it still will not change how we feel about it. Of course, people like Sean Clancy and the Saltine Queen and those who think like them are going to say something completely, different or whatever. And their base is going to back them up. And, that's their prerogative. But as for me, I see this for what it is and I'm not falling for it. And I know I'm talking to intelligent people right now. And I know you're not going to fall for it either. So they can do all of this pomp and circumstance all they want, but it's not going to be even nearly remotely enough to get me to going back to watching it. It just won't. Let alone even wanting to try to go to one of the games. You want to know what's so crazy? One of my things that I had on my bucket list was to go to at least one Super Bowl. It didn't even matter what team it was. I just wanted to go to a Super Bowl so I can experience it. But as of right now, I'm cool on that. And besides, Super Bowl tickets are expensive. I mean, I'm sure y'all have seen how much them things cost. I'm talking about you could pay a few months rent, probably a whole year's worth of rent, depending on where you live, for one ticket, for one game. So I'm good on that. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments.